All right, folks, never bet against the Trumpian America First economy. And that's the subject of the riff. So, if any of these Iranian thugs from the IRGC think a minor bump up in gas prices is going to kill the American economy and or force President Trump to withdraw our military or make some watered down Obama-Biden type deal, those thugs had better think twice. Not only is President Trump not going to back down on his key demands to end Iran's nuclear capability and transfer the enriched uranium from Iran to the U.S. and stop the state-sponsored terrorism, long-range missile building, but the economic fact is the American economy is doing quite well, despite the bump in gas prices. It's the Iranian economy that's sinking and will continue to sink with the U.S. naval blockade, basically ending Iran's money and ability to pay their IRGC troops. The IRGC controls about a third of Iran's economy. They control roughly half of their energy revenues. They've been stealing and looting from the Iranian people for decades. It's like a mob-run operation. And President Trump and Treasury Man Bessent are putting an end to it. Now, here's Treasury Man Scott Bessent last night on this show talking to me about this whole story, economic fury. Take a listen.
The president gave the order for max pressure campaign more than a year ago. It was that pressure that brought the Iranian economy to a standstill. The largest bank in Iran collapsed. The central bank had to monetize the debt, and that created massive inflation. Their currency is down about 60 or 70% versus the US dollar, so they're in the middle of a currency crisis. And what we're doing now is, we've been in a long race, and we are sprinting for the finish line.
Yeah, he's Treasury Man Scott Bessent also is busting up OPEC, by the way, with currency swaps and other things. But now, back to our American economy. There are a lot of good economic numbers out today. And, of course, as Lydia Hu pointed out, a record-breaking stock market. So, over the past year, real GDP has grown 2.7%. If the Democrats hadn't shut the economy down last winter, we'd have been well over 3%. But inside that number, the one big beautiful bill and its 100% cost expensing has produced an amazing business investment boom, up 17% in the first quarter, almost 10% over the past year. It's absolutely huge and record-breaking. And don't forget, record-breaking tax refunds from the one big beautiful bill used by over 50 million Americans, which is offsetting the temporary gas spike. And even then, consumer spending doing better than you think, up nearly 2.5% over the past year. And incidentally, Redbook consumer spending sales year to year in April, almost 7%. So that's pretty good. Our energy dominance is producing record-breaking exports of oil, diesel, gasoline, fuels. Here at home, we're setting oil production records. Here's one other thing. Inflation numbers came in a bit on the high side today. But call me skeptical about all this. For one thing, the M2 money supply is only growing 3.5%, so 4% inflation doesn't make a lot of sense. The Cleveland Fed has a median CPI, right? Chop off the high, chop off the low. Just look at the median. It's up 2.7% over the past year. 16% trimmed mean, up 2.6%. And unit labor costs only 2.4%. So the big story, in my judgment, is profits. Profits are the mother's milk of stocks and the lifeblood of the economy. Profits drive business, and business drives the economy. Profits and profit margins are breaking records, and they're running something like 15% or better. And that, in turn, is driving productivity, output per hour, and that's producing an economy that is the envy of the world. Once the world normalizes and we finish off the Iran story, the American economy will grow even faster. The inflation rate will move even lower. But remember this, it is the strong American economy that is creating the resources to destroy the gruesome Nazi-like regime like Iran. Never bet against the Trumpian America First economy. And that is my riff.